Why be easy when you can just die? Woo! Well, I'm Chewy Mew, and welcome to my channel, but more specifically, welcome to another Chewy Mew review, where today we're going to be taking a look at the ToyBiz Spider-Man Classics Magnetic Spider-Man, where my phone brightness is really low. Let me turn that up. See, I got this guy on eBay with two other figures. They were about $10 each, which is pretty good. This figure is also, spoilers, pretty good. So really quick, having got this guy used, I don't have the packaging for it, but I do have the packaging for the Spider-Man Classics Dr. Octopus, and based on the picture, he comes with this base as an accessory. See, he has like a brick wall and like a platform that is magnetic, so he can stand on it, and then you have like Mr. Jameson with a web on his face, which that looks interesting. And I do have originally it was mint, and I opened it, the ToyBiz Spider-Man Classics Series 2 Classic Spider-Man. That's what they call him. They call this Classic Spider-Man, which kind of looks a little bit like First Appearance, most of the colors in the head. And he comes with a base that this looks very similar to. It kind of just looks like they repurposed this brick wall a little bit. Doesn't it kind of matches, right? I'm not crazy. Like, they just took this brick wall, and then they made a magnetic platform, and then they made a Mr. Jameson thing. Whoa, I almost hit my phone. But yeah, so I feel like this is they kind of loosely repurposed this to make that. Unfortunately, this is not magnetic, so you can't, like, you could put him on it, but you can't. He's not magnetic. This isn't metal, it's plastic. But, you know, that's pretty cool. But yeah, so let's take a look at the figure here. Let me belly up to the desk here. Take a look at the face here. So this face is kind of looks like Humberto Ramos, because he would draw Spider-Man with like different sized eyes, and also kind of like had like the Deadpool style of eyes. But it also, looking at this eye alone, kind of looks like Eric Larson, who drew Spider-Man after McFarlane. And he kind of had like a similar style to it, and kind of like Deadpool eyes a little bit. And if the figure had both of these eyes on both sides, it would look more like Eric Larson, which I think it looks pretty cool like this. Kind of give him some personality, having multiple squinted eyes. The web lines on the whole figure are all sculpted and painted in with a wash. And it looks pretty clean, you know. The neck has it as well. The torso as well. And this figure, just like this guy, is using almost the same body as the Spider-Man Classics Series 1. Right now, he's on my shelf in an intricate pose, and he's behind other figures it'd be hard to get to, but it's basically this figure with a different head and different colors. And so these two have almost the same body. Almost everything's the same. The only difference is the foot, where this one has peg holes, and this one has magnets. The other difference is the hands. This one has the web shooting hands. This one has like a sort of fist and a sort of like, kind of looks like a saluting hand in a way, like a chopping hand or something. And then the other difference, which is pretty useful, pretty big difference here, not really, is the shoulders. This guy has no bicep joint, and this guy has a bicep joint. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time ToyBiz had a bicep swivel on the 6-inch scale figures. I know the Tobey Maguire movie 1 figure had a bicep swivel, but it was cut differently. This one is like the more traditional ToyBiz ball-shaped shoulder. The other one is much more human shoulder looking. That is like a flat cut, kind of like the thighs. So it doesn't look as good here. And those are like the main differences in the bodies, other than the head. But one cool thing this figure has that none of the other ones have, and there's only like one other ToyBiz figure I remember that has the same pattern or the same paint apps, and that is, you can see it has like sort of stylized paint. They added the sort of black paint along the muscles of his legs and stuff. It's pretty cool looking. This is what Hasbro should have done with their like VHS X-Men and Spider-Man figures. Give them this kind of paint job, because the way they do it just looks like someone smeared black paint on various body parts. Whereas this one, see, he's got paint in there, goes around under the pectorals, there on the ribs, here on the inside of the arms as well. I think they tried painting the pin black, and the paint just didn't stay on too good. You see more paint there. And he has like the heavy black paint wash on the red as well to paint the web lines in. But he has like the shading on there, which is pretty cool. On the back there, you can see, let's try to straighten his back out. There we go. You can see it. They painted it up in there. This part, that's just paint peeling because it's old and stuff. People have, posed it around the paint scratches. You can see a dark blue, sort of dark blue oval shape going around the spider logo and on the back, which is pretty cool. They didn't do shading on the red, but the shading is black. All the shading on this guy is just black. Is it considered shading, or is it just like stylized paint? I don't know, but it looks pretty cool. It makes it look more unique compared to... I'll be back. Okay, I didn't really want to go and get this guy off the display base because he was on a base behind other figures and it was kind of messy. But here he is, and you can see the paint differences, like the paint app differences between these two. This guy unfortunately has a loose thigh. I bought him like that and he was like that. But you can see the shoulders are different. The way these ones kind of sit more flush. But yeah, so you can see like the colors are different. The blues are slightly different shades. Like if you look there on the legs, they both look really dark in the camera. And this one has a darker, or like it has the black paint on it, which that's kind of the selling point of this one for me. Other than the magnets, is the cool paint app differences and like the head. But ultimately, the paint apps are pretty cool. And one thing that I wanted to do as well, because I really like that head. It's kind of the Bagley. It's definitely a Bagley style head. You could put that head on this body. Which if you do this, if you swap any heads between any of these bodies, I recommend boiling it, heating it up. Don't just pull them off. I do that now because I sanded down the ball and I modified the head so they come off easier. And you can see that figure looks pretty cool like this. If there's a way that I could switch the forearms so I could have like basically interchangeable arms. So I could have like web shooting hands or like the fist and the chopping hand there. And in case you want to see what this looks like, you can put that head on there. So look at that. That's pretty cool. I think this one looks a bit nicer, you know. That's pretty cool. That's really good that I wish ToyBiz kept doing this, like having the heads, even if you can't take them off, normally you have to heat them up. I wish they would have made like all the head parts, like at least for Spider-Man, all the same so you could swap the heads. Like that'd be cool if you could put like McFarlane Spider-Man's head on this body or something, you know. But for the sake of this review, we're just gonna keep these heads on their original figures for now. But yeah, as far as that goes, let's take a look at the articulation on this guy, which is mostly the same as him. Which the head, it looks up decently. He can't really look down. Like that's neutral, and yeah, the head you can't really look down because his neck is thick. He can kind of pivot side to side a little bit, rotate. He has another joint in the neck, which is just a rotation. It doesn't have like a ball joint or anything. The shoulders go up all the way, which is pretty cool because they have the bicep swivel and they cut the plastic farther compared to this figure, Series 1 Spider-Man. The arms, these are loose. When I bought this on eBay, it was a lot of the joints were kind of loose, but his arms only go up that high, so they definitely improved that on this. His bicep swivel as well. Double jointed elbow, which has not the best range ever. Does this guy have the same? Oh yeah, they have like the same. Not as much range compared to like Spider-Sense Spider-Man, who has like all the way bent elbow. So that's pretty nice. Rotation here in the glove. You get a hinge in the wrist that goes 90 degrees out and in, or left and right, if you view it like that. Then you have the finger joints, which those aren't really the most useful on that hand. Which, that's not really too useful on that hand, but on this hand, you kind of have like a sort of open wall crawling hand if you want, like a relaxed hand, and then you have a sort of fist hand. I wish the fingers were a little bit closer together, because his fingers are like, it's like making a fist, but he's like got his hands all weird. It's kind of weird. The diaphragm joint, which unfortunately, like I made that video saying, ToyBiz didn't know how to make diaphragm joints. This one doesn't work because it goes back like that, that's it. And it goes forward, okay, like, that's not too good. Then you have rotation here in the waist. So this is basically just very slight moving forward and back. You can do the full splits, which is pretty good. The legs go back like that much, which is not much. They kick forward all the way. You have a thigh swivel here. You get a double bend in the knee. You get a rotation here in his boot. The ankles hinge pretty far forward, all the way back, and the toe bends up pretty good. And can you get him standing on his toes? This guy you can't because the magnets, one of the magnets was glued on, but can you get him standing on his toes? Yeah, there you go, boom. Pretty simple, first try. And then he has magnets on his feet, which are pretty strong. So I have this this lamp over here, which is made out of metal. And you can see, I'm going to hold my lamp. You can see he sticks really good. Whoops, he got stuck to that spring. Yeah, I can't talk. He sticks really good to it. Pretty strong magnets, which that's really nice. And the seller, when they sold it to me, this magnet is customized. That's the original magnet. And this one is customized, which looks kind of bad. And it covers the stuff on this foot that says 2001 Marvel Entertainment, China. Probably said ToyBiz in there, but it's all messed up. And also behind my bed here, or this is my bed. My bed's made out of metal. And so he can stick to it. He does kind of flop because his ankles and his knees are not heavy, or they're not tight enough anymore to hold his weight. But you could get him like, hanging. Like, here's my bed. You can get him hanging out from something upside down. That's pretty cool. Pretty strong magnet there. You can see, like, with my pinky, you got to put decent amount of force to get them to come down. Oh man, that was a little bit too hard. But yeah, the magnets are really strong on this guy. He can very easily hold the weight of stuff, you know? So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so magnets are really good on this guy, which is, in this figure's case, for the sake of like a gimmick, that's a really good gimmick. I really love like Spider-Man figures with magnet hands gimmick or something. But yeah, so between these two, I prefer the head sculpt on this, but I prefer like almost everything else about this figure, including the bicep swivel. Bicep swivel makes a big difference. The other thing I could want to point out here is this figure has all pinless joints, except like the wrists, the ankles, and the toes. But like the arms and legs, they're pinless. And this one, I guess because the way they made it with the bicep joint, they made them pinned. And the way ToyBiz made pin joints really quick, you can see how he has this big seam on his leg, which they didn't do too good at making this flush, which is maybe why they stopped. But this leg part here and this leg part here are two separate pieces that they welded together like this. Same thing with the knee joint here, and that was to make them pinless. But unfortunately, the joints can get loose and they can break, which these ones, unfortunately, they are a bit loose here. This one, they're a little bit tighter. But ultimately, yeah, I think it's pretty cool looking. It does have pins, but they painted them underneath. The paint's kind of coming off here. They painted them, and I don't really care about pins. Pins or pinless, it doesn't make a big deal to me, considering you can see like the wrist pins there and the ankle pins. So if he has pins or not, I don't care. Just the only ones that are weird is like when they have leg pins or shoulder pins, which this one doesn't have it, so that's good. But yeah, that's pretty much all for this video. I really like this figure though. I think the way I'm going to pose this is I might swap these two heads, like interchange them, so I can have like Bagley Spider-Man head with the cool articulated updated body with the magnets, you know. But either way, that's all for this video. Let me think about this figure. Let me know what you think about this video, and I'll see you guys in the next review.